right, good afternoon, evening, call the meeting to order. First item would be adoption agenda with one late item.
Move.
On adoption, all those in favor, motion is carried. And that late item will be related to budgetary matters and under late items. So we have two delegations here this evening. First of all, Julian Benedict and Margaret Stefanowicz, Affecting Estates. So I think you've got your map already. That podium you moved to the front. That way you can be on camera.
Now we can see you.
Yeah. So as you know, you have 10 minutes for your presentation, including questions. So once you're set up there, we'll get you going.
Everybody can see? Or?
It doesn't dry very well.
Yeah, wow, we didn't get that. 7 minutes. Okay. That's a very nice thing for everybody.
Did you two see the map?
Yes, no, that's great.
Yeah, all good. I think it's the first time I've actually really been able to see a map.
I thought I'd go big or go home.
Yeah.
Right? So good evening, Your Worship and Councillors. Thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to speak today and present our petition. And I want to personally thank the many individual conversations I've had with very helpful councillors who've given us some suggestions and thoughtful feedback through this process. So I really appreciate that. You know, since moving to Becton Estates in 2013, what's really been special is that we all know each other in the neighborhood. We look out for each other's kids, our dogs, property, that sort of thing. And it's something that's really special and something we want to keep in the neighborhood. And what's been surprising is that with this sudden protocol change with enforcement of parking on the highlighted section, what we've really had is a lot of discord. We had, in 2017, a near physical altercation between some neighbors over parking issues. We've seen informal marker lines being put together in certain areas to discourage cars from parking in between two stationary vehicles. We've seen increasing challenges for commercial vehicles and contractors who are trying to come to do work in the area. And of course, continuing source of stress for all the people in the neighborhood who, when they have family come over, Easter, Christmas, high peak times in the summer, people don't have an opportunity to find that parking that they need. So it really is something that has been a challenge for us, and we want to find a solution that is a compromise for all the parties involved. So just directing to our petition here, we are asking for parking to be established on one side of Becton Drive in the highlighted zone here. Currently, this entire section here has only one 5-minute spot for picking up mail, presumably up on the top end. We designed our petition to demonstrate to Council very specifically and surgically the amount of support for this initiative. We did that by going the extra step of having homeowners support linked to the specific civic address, showing the number of people directly impacted every day by the lack of parking. So we received an overwhelming support of 90% plus, or 28 to 31 homeowners, and we believe that number certainly speaks for itself. Looking at the petition, we also want to say up front that we assume the town's expertise will be engaged to ensure that the end of the parking area proposed on either end would have the visual sight lines needed, or step back, or whatever the term is for where the parking would start and end given the turns. So we're assuming that. Turning to our map, as I say, we would like to note how the existing problem, as bad as it is actually going to get very much worse for us. You may know there's this new development has been approved here, which is right in this zone where all these problems are happening with the cars that are moving down here, up here, trying to find somewhere to park. So we understand that this area is going to have a cul-de-sac with a maximum of 3 parking spots, which will be street parking. So what ends up happening here is we're going to have more people being pushed into the direct zone of the problem that we already have. So it's a significant issue for us. On the other end, we have a townhouse development here, which has started to fill up. So we've started to see more people, more congestion in this area as well. And of course, we have some 2-hour parking in here, a limit of parking on this side, which is a challenge as well. So speaking about, we've talked about the 3 spots. Now, in terms of addressing past concerns, we wanted to talk a little bit about why, I'm pretty sure Council knows about the original history of why this parking issue, this change happened, but we just want to say we acknowledge that any change in parking rules should be consistent with safety and security. We also wanted to address some of the concerns we've heard around the proposal. We want to begin by noting that vehicles were parked on both sides of Becton Drive for at least 10 years, enforcement notwithstanding, and largely without incident. So we believe a petition calling for parking on one side of the street is really a good compromise that should work for most people. We also note that some of the issues raised around the narrowness of Becton Drive in the section we're talking about are not consistent with what we've found. For example, if you take a measuring tape in front of this section here, 1202, gutter to gutter, edge to edge here, we've got a total of 297 inches of space, and yet on this section here, there's 291 inches, gutter to gutter, edge to edge. So the argument that somehow this is a narrow area and wouldn't be applicable for parking, we feel is something that should be considered more carefully. Further, to respond to arguments about parking on an incline, we've heard people say you can't park on an incline. We understand that certainly through most of North America and Europe, people park on an incline and they follow the proper parking procedures, which is to apply your e-brake and to turn your tires according to proper protocol. So we feel that argument should be something that should be dealt with without a problem. And in terms of watershed, we've heard some arguments about somehow the watershed would be affected because parked cars would impede water, but we understand that in fact the area that was approved with alley parking here does not meet those same watershed guidelines. So we think it's sort of inconsistent to argue we can't have parking here, but we can here. The other uniqueness about this area, people will know that this section here does not feature any driveway parking. So the challenge for people is they come in here, it's a very narrow area in the alley. Contractors, people have complained they can't access that area or it's difficult to get in there. So it just adds to more pushing of traffic out into these other zones. So we believe that in summary too, the safety argument, sightline safety, we've already said that we'd be happy with some sort of push forward before the parking would start so people coming around the corner would be able to see, and on this side. And we really hope that you'll work with us to find a solution so we're not stuck here and in a worse position once this development is realized. Any questions?
All right, was there any other presenting party? So we had 2 names. So. No? Okay, so questions from members of council for the delegation? Go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. That was a good report. So you said you lived there since 2013.
Yeah.
And so the no parking went in approximately, what, 2016?
We're thinking 14 months ago. Is that what the delegation is? Somewhere in that region. Just sort of one day we came by and...
Right. So in the roughly 3 years that you were there, did you see any issues there with the
Not at all.
parking? And that was both sides of the street?
That's right. That's right. Both sides. And yes, there was, I mean,
Yeah.
I spoke with the other members of the delegation. I pretty much, I think, said that there was no real issue. Obviously, there was something that precipitated this, so we acknowledge that. But overall,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
for the question.
Councilor Swift.
Thank you, Jimmy. Can you just, I have driven down that area, but not in the lane, through the laneway. Could you just describe what happens there? If you're a resident, is that where you park?
Yeah, in this, I'm down in this way, so I'm not familiar with this area. I've spoken with some of the residents that live here, and I've been told that it is quite difficult to get in here, and there are some issues because also there are other service vehicles that have to get through there, and it's quite narrow. And could you offer some thoughts on this? You live in this area.
Yes, it is. It's a one-way back lane, and a lot of people have a very small, it's a single-car garage. Some people do not have a second parking space there. so it does challenge the residents both from Becton as well as from Guthrie. Both streets have parking in the back in their own private lots.
Yeah, so it's a garage parking on the lawn.
Yes.
For the beautiful side.
And all of them are
Thank you.
similar.
Councillor Price, then Ken.
So thank you for your presentation and very thorough canvassing of the neighbourhood. Mine's more a question. Are you aware of our process that we would not make a decision today?
Yes.
That
Yes.
we look up to staff for advice. Yes, lovely. And thank you.
Yeah, still a couple on this side. Councillor McKinnon.
Yes, again, thanks for the presentation. Just to clarify for all of us in the room, could you just highlight where you can park in the neighborhood, including Guthrie?
Yeah, it's quite limited right now. So right now there are a few spots in this sector here because there are quite a few driveways that stagger. There's actually very few in
Is there
here.
a place you can park on both sides?
I believe it's on one side only.
One side.
One side only, yeah.
One
So
side.
one side only, and there's, I think, one spot or something in here, and maybe one other there. Down here, we've got a few spots on one side, but no parking anywhere in here, and then the 2-hour zone in this section. And in here, it's not shown on this map, there's a small carve-out on this side of Guthrie. It's not an area that we've seen anyone. I don't drive on that side very often, so I don't know that this area is particularly well used. But we know that certainly in this zone here, we've seen a lot more congestion as that townhouse complex goes
So
on.
on Guthrie, you can park on Guthrie.
There's a small carve-out. It's a small section somewhere in here. I don't have it on the map, but it's not the entire section at all.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, so we would essentially be seeing this as just normalizing the continued one-side parking. So you would have it on this side, for example, and then continue down here, and that would just be a carve-out.
Councillor Grant, and then we'll go back to Arno.
I don't have a question, Julian. I just would like to say I am familiar with the area. That was an excellent presentation, and thanks. You've answered all of the questions I have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so through you to the planner, how old is that neighborhood there, Mark? Is it 20-ish years old? Because I've been here 21 and I remember it there, and it had parking from that point on until 16 months ago?
No, that's not true.
I know it was originally designed no parking, but
And
then
some signs
somehow...
were taken down.
Okay, so when was that roughly? What I'm trying to establish is how long have they been able to
The
park
staff
there?
can bring that information
Yeah.
back to us for the
Yeah.
report.
Okay.
If I certainly can offer that the delegation, many of them have been here longer than I have, but as far as I know, have said that until the enforcement change, there was basically parking there for at least a decade.
14 years.
14 years.
14
So it's
years.
been a pretty much
Yeah.
uninterrupted.
Yeah,
so-
1226, I moved to in July 2001, and for 14 years, we were able to park in front of my house.
And there were complaints that gave rise to that enforcement, as is typically the case. Anyway, staff has reported on this previously, but they'll bring back a report in due course to answer any of those other questions. So unless there's any other questions for the delegation, we'll let you carry on.
Will the delegation be able to see the report?
They can certainly be public record, yes, of course.
Yes, and we certainly hope that this time when it's reviewed that there'll be a compromise that can be arrived at to help us out. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next delegation is Chris Morrison. He's here regarding the development permit application for 215 Church Street. For what reason?
For what reason?
You have to declare that.
Oh, okay. Because we are family.
Okay.
Not something I said.
All right, welcome, Chris.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and Councilors. Thanks for having us this evening. My name is Chris Morrison. I'm representing the Church Street Tap House. On behalf of Craig Grant and Ben Davies, Craig's with us here tonight. Ben's traveling in Taiwan somewhere, and our architect Tom Dishevoy is joining us as well. I just want to say a quick thanks before we get started to the planning department for working with us very closely over the last few weeks on a very expedited schedule to get us to this meeting tonight. And we want to present our updated plan for the next version of the Tap House. So first, why are we back with a new plan? Pretty simply, our last plan had reached almost 5,000 square feet. Construction costs for the last few years have been rising. And we really want to have a project that's really sustainable for the long term. And we want our project that we're going to be able to put forward or be part of the community for a really long time. The new building is very similar in terms of how many people we can serve and the hours. But we basically had a really smart design that we worked with Tom on to basically cut our square footage in half and still be able to do a lot of things that we want to do. So it's going to be much more sustainable for the long term. We have a couple of photos to show you, and I'm sure you've seen it in the staff report as well. But just quickly in terms of what we've done. So it is a completely new design. We've gone to a bit more of a pub feel. I think the last one was approaching more of a restaurant, kind of style, which was not exactly what we intended originally. As I mentioned, it is a smaller footprint. We've almost kind of cut it in half. We've got some cool things that you'll see in the pictures as well in terms of the integration and flow between the outdoor patio and the inside. And we feel the outdoor patio is kind of the gem of the building in terms of bringing people from Comox Ave to join us for the evening and also interact with what's happening inside and outside. So some garage doors that go up on nice evenings like tonight, and also kind of a really unique bar that's on the inside that you can roll up a window to also serve to the outside patrons as well. So some pretty unique designs that we put in there. And as we said, this hasn't changed anything to do with the agreement of principle that we have with the provincial liquor laws on that side of things. So everything stays in place in terms of what you approved last time in terms of operating hours, in terms of the 175 capacity, which includes patrons and staff. And the orientation is very similar as well. So the patio still faces, looking towards Comox Ave. The sound will push towards Comox Ave, and the building is very similar in terms of how it faces Comox Ave. We've been working really closely with the community and the neighborhood as we went along with these changes. We continue to have great support from the immediate neighbors and the accompanying businesses around us as well. Here's a view, a little bit of an aerial, kind of a nighttime view. So this would be the view if you're standing on Comox Ave and looking up Church Street. The bakery is just obviously on the other side. So you've got a nice wraparound patio. At some point, either right away or in the near future, we'll have an awning to cover on rainy nights. Some various types of fire tables or different systems to keep you warm at different times of the year, and some garage door elements on each side, which will obviously open up weather permitting. And right in the middle is where the bar would open up, and a bartender can serve either the inside or the outside. It is, I guess, technically a two-story building, but we don't have a second floor. We have a mezzanine on the inside, which is primarily going to be used for office space. There will be a small licensed area up there, staff lockers and washroom as well, and that's going to be on the north side. As soon as you come in, we've also done an open concept kitchen as well, which is a very kind of popular thing too, which I think will add a little bit of an element to the pub feel that we're going for. Here's another bit of a zoom up on a kind of daylight view, so you can see the garage doors on the south side, and this one is actually just a window. It's not a garage door from that side. So lots of light. We think the new design will fit quite nicely with some of the other designs that are close by as well. And the final one, this would be looking down the patio, so you can see people actually being served at the bar. Some patio tables wrapped around. That's still subject. We might put some fire tables and some booths in there. Some patio lighting. So that's kind of the design from the patio side as well. So most importantly, next steps, if we gain your approval this evening on the new plan, I think the key right now is really the speed. People are looking for this to move ahead. We want to move as efficiently as possible, hence why we're trying to meet this meeting tonight and get to the next steps. So we've already engaged all our professional staff. They've already seen the plans and they're already starting to work on that. So we feel we can actually have the building permit drawings by mid-April, so about 3 weeks from now. So we can put in the submission to the town, hopefully pick up the building permit mid-May, and start building as soon as June 1st. It's going to be about a 9-month build. Hopefully Craig can get that down to 6. But a 9-month build, so hopefully March 2019, you're all invited to opening day. So that's our plans in terms of design and next steps. We're excited with the new design and the feedback that we've gotten so far, and look forward to any questions or comments that you have.
Thank you, Chris. Questions from members of council regarding this presentation? Seeing none, obviously answer all the questions. Thank you for presenting, and we'll be discussing this matter shortly. Great, thanks. Look at Mark.
No.
All right, so we have for approval the regular council meeting minutes of March 7th.
Move that. Second.
On approval, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to manager reports for receipt.
Receipt. Second.
On receipt then, all those in favor? Motion carried. Any questions for staff on that? Councilor?
No, we can't have a meeting without me asking this question. How are we doing with the northeast stormwater management?
CEO and reports.
The report we've received is the professionals have signed off. It's now awaiting signature from the consulting engineer. We should receive it, we hope, end of this week, early next. And it will come before council for initial receipt next council meeting, I believe.
Excellent.
And the approval of what?
Yeah. After which time, then there's a public process that the consultant will still undertake, and we'll get going on what we need to.
So we have some movement. Okay. And I do have some things to report regarding organics. Do you want me to save that till my council report?
Yeah, unless it's specific to the manager report, you can save it for your council.
Yeah, I'll save it.
Okay. Anything else on the manager report? Seeing none. We'll move on to regional district meeting minutes for receipt.
Move receipt. Second.
And that's for the board, hospital, and solid waste management. So, all those in favor? Motion's carried. That moves us to new business. That is related to the report, planning report for the matter we just heard the delegation on, 215 Church Street. And staff are recommending issuance of development permits subject to the conditions listed in the report. And Councillor Grant will be declaring a conflict again. And also cancellation of the previous issued development permit.
So would you like two different motions? Or
No, CO way one.
Two.
Okay, I'll move the first part.
Let it be issued.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor?
And then move cancellation of 16-8 development permit.
All right, moving to cancellation, all those in favor? Any opposed, motion's carried. All right, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck on the rest of it.
9 months is too long, but
Yeah.
6 months will bring it to Christmas.
yeah, we want a New Year's Day party in there. 11.
Bring your shovel.
Thanks.
St. Patrick's Day, 2018.
All right, and thank you again to staff for bringing that forward in an expedited fashion.
Just one quick question. They're looking at a month for the building inspection. Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so correspondence, we have a letter of thank you from the Downtown Action.
Move receipt.
Second?
And on that, that's just referencing the $30,000 contribution the town of Comox made in 2017, to which they applied towards a purchase along with $90,000 from the CVRD for to purchase 2 one-bedroom condo units. That's been a success, from what I gather. Yes. All right. So on the seat then, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. All right. And so I understand that there may be. Oh yes, we have to do the late item, right? So we'll do the late item, and that is from staff. It's preliminary approval on financial plan expenditures. And staff are looking for authorization of expenditure of $62,000 for 2 temporary laborers in the Public Works Department, and the expenditure of up to $70,000 for the purchase of the truck chassis from Comox Valley Dodge for the fire department. Those things are in the proposed budget, financial plan, so they're just looking to advance those to allow those things to be moved forward.
I'll move number 1, 8.
Second?
Okay. On that, any questions, comments? Yes?
Question, so that's, is that seasonal? Is it just for the building months?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And at this point, I understand it's just for 1 year.
It's just for this year.
Yeah.
So 1 year.
Yeah, it's a one-time only thing at this point. All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried.
And then I'll move B.
I'll second B.
All right, and that's again related to the fire department, and the sole source aspect of it is noted in the report, given the previous support that Comox Valley Dodge has provided to the fire department. So that's been brought forward to us because of our policy around that. Tenders for more than $25,000 usually go to bids. Yeah.
Yeah, so question that I have is that it is a big amount to sole source, and what you've just addressed, but is there other Dodge dealers in the valley, or is it just the one? Just the one, eh? And I understand that they've been helping us out, but just want to make sure that we're transparent in everything that we do.
Yeah, that's what I brought forward.
Yeah.
And to be clear, we still are looking for a competitive bid.
Okay.
It's, the beauty of the internet nowadays is that you can do your own research to indicate what you would expect to find a vehicle of the outfit they're looking for. So within reason, we feel that we're comfortable in doing this.
And is this that kind of rescue vehicle? It's not a fire truck, but it's the one with the square box on the back that they first responder type for?
Yes.
Not the pickup, but the actual square box on the back.
No, this is for the truck chassis, this part.
Yeah, but it is that unit. It will replace that
replace
unit.
it,
Yeah, okay.
And Rescue 38, and of course, the balance of the project is about $90,000, which will be done through the standard RFP process. All right, so assuming tires are included in that chassis, then I'm in favor. There's a motion on the floor. Are you ready for the question? Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. I believe that deals with the late item.
And do you need to make a motion about staff report, or that will automatically happen?
For what? The delegation?
Back
Well, that'll come forward to us in due course. Staff will put that on their to-do list. Any idea, estimate-wise?
Well, we can provide what has already been provided to council in terms of the staff reports to the next committee. I'm unclear if there's going to be any future direction from that. That might be a start.
Okay.
That we bring forward what we have.
Okay.
And go from there.
All right, so that may lead to other questions and inquiries. All right, so not a whole lot of staff time required to do that initially. Bring it forward next week, committee of the whole. All right, no other delegations, reports from members of council. We'll start with Councilor Arnott.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I had a community justice meeting, and our administrator there, Bruce Curtis, had got back from England. He was invited there to present for restorative justice, and I believe it was in Nottingham, and I think it was the sheriff that he may have met there. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that was good that we're being recognized for that. Attended with some of the other council members, the MAD signage photo op and the pickleball, which I think is going to be well received. attended the brief hearing for the MAC Lang. And I also attended the air quality meeting in Courtenay. And it brought some of the things to light that we're faced with as a community. The community being us, Courtenay, Cumberland, and so on. And while it doesn't appear that Comox is wholly responsible for the bad air quality. I think I'm going to call him the meteorologist fellow that was there, says that sometimes what happens at nighttime, things cool down and air is drawn towards us. It goes, I think it was to the east. But anyway, it gets drawn in, so we tend to get some of the bad air. But I think it was identified that we did have some spots within Comox. So what I would like to do is provide a notice of motion that staff prepare a report for potential recommendations that would improve the town of Comox air quality with respect to wood burning. Particularly the PM 2.5 is what they're worried about. The example that I'm thinking is perhaps we need to move forward in new builds that we don't, or that we ban wood burning devices. But I think it would be premature for me to make a motion to that without having a proper report back from staff.
So your motion is more general.
Yeah, I would like to see what we can do as a town of Comox to help others around us and our own residents.
And you've given the wording of that to staff?
I will give that to staff, but no,
So that would, as a matter of course, then come onto the agenda for discussion at the next regular council meeting.
Mm-hmm. And being that this is generally a seasonal problem, we're getting out of the wood burning season, I think it gives us some time to find a proper way forward with this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I also attended that same event.
Right.
It's a little disheartened to see them criticize us for not having done anything, because
And they did, and
we
it was
have
out there.
we have done many things over many years, but that being said, obviously they're focused on wood stoves and other wood burning appliances. So
Yeah.
the things that we've done in regards to backyard burning and yard-based pickup and other aspects of that. So
But we will leave goose spit out of this, so.
I don't know.
Some of us.
Well, town of Comox.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a bit of a conundrum for you.
You light the spark. All right, we'll start. Carry on with Councillor King. I assume you're finished, Councillor.
Well,
Yes, I do.
I attended the photo op for the Pickleball Association. We didn't have any regional district meetings in the last few weeks, and also met with the Rotary Club a few times over the pickleball issues. So, so that's about all I have to report.
All right, thank you, Councillor Margaret.
Thank you. I attended our CSWM board meeting and the hospital board. Just a very brief note as far as our solid waste meeting was concerned. They had I suppose a small calamity happening up with the leachate treatment facility. There was a problem with electricity and communication. And as a result of that, leading up to that, our number one cell was partially filled, and the retention pond was completely filled, although with diluted leachate it was still filled. And so with this problem of the electricity and the treatment plant not able to distribute the leachate, they had to scurry rather quickly. What they chose to do was to take the leachate, the diluted leachate, and put it into the stormwater retention, and then scurry to find another temporary treatment facility. So it was, they unfortunately were required to report the non-compliance and ministry were involved as well. But the good news is, as of January, everything is good, but it was a very hectic time at our solid waste for November and December. And also, I attended the International Women's Day at the museum, be it somewhat late because we were attending board meetings. Also, Jackie Holt retirement from Berwick. Also, of course, along with other councillors, acknowledged the installation of the MAD sign and celebrated, of course, pickleball. My neighbor is very happy. and smiles at me now. Also attended the Shakeside hearing and as a result, the postponement, and the Stairs to News Board meeting.
Councilor McKinnon.
Yes, I just make a comment. I also attended the Jackie Holt Berwick retirement, and just about that individual, it was a win-win for our community the way she operated, in that they made the residents feel part of the community, but also invited the community into Berwick regularly. And I'm certainly hoping the new person will do the same. Is that it's great that when organizations like that involve our community, and it works both ways, and it's a payoff. I was at the Vancouver Island Regional Board, Library Board meeting last Saturday in Nanaimo. Attended the second Community Health Network Forum at the Filbert last week, and with good intentions, they're looking to improve health services in the valley, or at least facilitating services. Attended, I can't remember if we mentioned this last week, but the Vancouver Island Mountain reception for Cassie Sharp at the Olympian, and that was very well received in the community. Also attended the International Women's Day Exceptional Women's Show at our museum, and attended a Comox Valley social planning meeting last week.
All right, thanks.
That's
Councilor
my
Price.
report.
Yes, and I too attended the official opening of the museum exhibit on International Women's Day. And just a reminder of the museum AGM of this coming Saturday in our Spinnaker building, starting at 2 and featuring Dusty Despair. If you have not heard the talk on Dusty, good opportunity. I attended an ABICC teleconference. I met with MLA Ronna Ray Leonard as chair of the co-management committee for the wildlife management area. Continuing to push for an amphibian crossing on Lazo Road.
What crossing?
Amphibian.
For frogs.
Frogs, newts.
There you go.
Yes.
All right.
And we also, the co-management committee also met, and I was attended and chaired. And with our museum, I've done a lot of museum stuff. With our museum president, we met with David Kuhn, the mall owner, and he officially donated the murals that were in the mall to the museum. And Ted at the rec centre has been very much involved in that. And there is, if you go into the rec centre, one of them is in there, the road.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, it looks great. And we will be looking for other locations for to put them on loan. So yeah, there's 4. You're going to have one in the museum, or maybe rotate them. So that's something to come. And he also agreed to locate our car in the mall.
Oh, great.
That's
Yeah, because you're asking
something to
about
look forward to. And gave a tour of the new office space, which is phenomenal. In the mall, the upstairs, that old decrepit upstairs is transformed. Yeah, it's great. And my aging memory did recall about the burning in the early 90s. You were quite right. We, the town, restricted outdoor burning to 2 windows, a week in the spring and a week in the fall, and banned all burning for land clearance, because we at that point used to, and started the line to tell people that there was an inversion. So we were the first community to tackle.
Yeah. Well, we'll post that on their Facebook page.
First community to do nothing over this issue.
Richard, how are those weeks publicized to the public?
Those don't exist anymore.
They don't exist.
That's old news.
Yes,
Soldiers.
yes, because in 2002.
3, 4, 5, 6.
And I turned 65 last August, I just demonstrated
Yeah, we banned them backyard burning outright.
Yeah.
And of course brought in yard waste pickup, which
Yes,
All right, so is that your report?
it is.
Councilor
Thank you.
Swift, you're next.
Thank you. I attended the solid waste management meeting and the hospital meeting, and I just wanted to speak to they did a garbage audit, and it was a very small sample, but it was kind of disappointing to note that the communities that don't do the organics recycling have the same garbage audit as we do, that have access to the organics. So I know we had it on our management plan. I wouldn't recommend doing anything heading into summer, but I really think that at some point we're really going to have to address a more aggressive approach to the diversion of our organics. So that was kind of interesting. I attended the MAD and photo and the pickleball photo, and I know the pickleball people are absolutely thrilled, so that was kind of fun. And Jackie Holt's retirement party, and I was so impressed with the Berwick and their little pub, and I didn't realize that the building was filled, so that was interesting. Went to the Backline hearing, and I attended the Health Network Forum, which was the second forum from this group, and it was an interesting day, and there were lots of opportunities to take part, and housing came up as a top priority. There were about 138 participants there, all walks of life, some citizens, and all of the groups were represented, so we'll see where it goes from here. It was very well organized. And lastly, the air quality information session, and I agree it's worth considering that we need to be doing more. It is a big air shed, so of course the best thing is if we're all doing the same thing. So we'll see where this takes us. And that's my report.
Thank you. Okay, I'll report on a few things that I've attended in the last couple of weeks. Met with a student and her teacher, autistic student who wanted to meet with the mayor and talk about issues relevant to the town, so that was a one-on-one meeting. It was pretty good. And then we had a larger group, of course, with the Boys and Girls Club here in Council Chambers doing the mock council meeting. The issue they debated and discussed was off-leash dog parks. So came to no conclusion other than to refer to staff for reports. Usual.
So they're learning.
But they had lots of great ideas. So Councillor Arnott was there as his grandson as one of the participants. Unlike Councillor Arnott, his grandson didn't say a word. So.
And he had hair.
Yeah. Frank van Gisbergen paid me a visit. He's the chair of CVAC, and again, just talking about issues related to the parking and storm drainage issues up at the airport. So referred him to staff in terms of what they might be able to do in the interim. Because we know we're following up on that as we go. Jackie Holt retirement. I don't think there's any truth to the rumor, but there was some suggestion that if there was a basketball court put up there, that Councillor McKinnon would be moving in, but we'll wait and see what happens. I don't know if he's allowed to play basketball anymore.
It's very low.
Yeah. And the photo ops, yes, for pickleball and MADD, and we had, I guess now we're getting a quarterly leadership lunch at the base, hosted by the wing commander. We had 3 mayors, the Comox First Nations chief, and the chair of the regional district there to talk about overall issues in the community. And there is still a plan afoot to have an air show in 2019. So that's obviously not going to happen this year, but they're looking for community support, and there'll be a further bunch of information coming out on that. They want to get that organized sooner rather than later. Of course, they have a very busy schedule with all the things going on at the base. And of course, their concern amongst many people here in the valley is affordable housing, especially for some of the people coming in for these new facilities and new planes that are being built. And of course, they're looking, I think, as Councillor Arnott has referred to, the temporary housing or transient housing.
Yeah, we're having the assistant deputy minister is coming out middle of April, and I'll get to corner her for a bit of time and stress the need for more housing for the military members.
Yep. So it was a good lunch, and we'll meet again probably sometime later in May. WestJet Encore president, Charles Duncan, was here in town. WestJet Encore is, of course, an offshoot of WestJet. They fly those smaller planes, the Q400s, I think they're called. And they service 38 communities across Canada, and he took this job a little while ago, and he's, I think we were community number 37. And it included representation from the business community, BIAs from both Courtenay and Comox, Chamber of Commerce, some of the hoteliers, and other tourism providers, and it was a really good discussion. Some interesting ideas came out of it. I guess the one idea that I heard of was Big White, I think it was. If you show up at Big White with a boarding pass from WestJet on the day, that's dated that day, you get a free lift pass. So there's some ideas around maybe encouraging that kind of thing, not only for WestJet staff, but also for people who are just coming for a brief visit. So Mount Washington was well represented there, so they took that idea away. And we'll see what comes of it. And people asked about Swoop, which is separate from WestJet, but being run as an ultra-low-cost carrier. And this fellow did not believe that Swoop would be coming here. It would likely be limited to things like Abbotsford to Hamilton. So we'll likely continue to be well served by WestJet and WestJet Encore. And their load factors are great, and in fact I think they're going to run mostly 737s this summer. Yes, the court hearing, as mentioned earlier, for Mac Lang. And tomorrow I get to go to Victoria to help judge the top 20 under 40 awards. Those are the awards being held in April. It's sad to say that there was nobody from the town of Comox proposed because they're all over 40, I guess. But we do have some new staff, and we'll look to nominating some of them as they move forward in their careers. But 110 nominees, and we got to get it to the top 20, so it'll be a long day tomorrow. That's my report. So with that, we'll move on to the agenda. Any media questions at this time? Any questions from a member of the public that's here? All right, so we do have an in-camera meeting. A motion to exclude the public under section 91G of the Community Charter is required.
Move. Second.
Those in favor? Motion's carried, and we'll have a brief adjournment while the room clears.